I'm waiting on a movement to show up from somebody on the board so I can take it apart and show what's going on. And in the meantime, I'm going to dig into this. I never had one of these apart before. I don't even know what to expect. But I do know these are interesting. I don't know how interesting from what I've been reading. They are, I think, one of the first quartz movements, Russian quartz. I think. I don't know. As you can see, it's a Slava. If I can get this case back off. This runs erratically, and it has a new battery, or a decent battery, I should say. It just doesn't keep good time. I don't know if there's a problem mechanically. So what do we have? A 2356. 2356. This runs erratic. Like I said, I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if it's mechanical or the crown is coming out, because it does have a hacking function, and I don't know if it hacks by disconnecting the power from the battery, or there's a mechanism in here that makes it hack. So I'm going to take this apart, and obviously the first thing I want to do, let's get that battery out. Makes sense to do that first, I would think. And I don't have plastic tweezers. I don't want to pick this up from end to end, so I'll pick it up on its side, like so, if I can. There's not a whole lot of resources online about these, on what's how to service them or anything like that. And I can notice already a little bit of corrosion around the one lead there off the battery. Let's get in the shot. Come on, you've done this before. Yeah, I'm kind of winging this. I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. Take a look at that lead there. It's kind of green. There it is. There's a good shot. Right in here. Got some green stuff. Hopefully it's not too bad. So let's get this movement out of here. How does here is the stem. There's a wheel, castle wheel, to engage for setting the time. Let's look at a couple of things. We have what looks like a mechanism to hold the stem, and all of this working together. This appears to be a spring that if I pull that stem out, you'll see how it works. Another interesting thing, this device right here, see if I can, the lighting's not good. It's a thin piece of metal. You can see it engaged right there. That slides in and out. I don't know, that could be the switch. Who knows? But either way, let's take this apart. If you notice in this, and I'm just winging this right now, this is kind of keyed out a little bit. So this lever appears to slide back and forth. And if you look at this little notch right there, I can put a forceps in there and back that out a little bit. I can kind of give it a nudge to remove the stem. But I'm going to pull the stem out first. Does that help me at all? Doesn't appear to. No. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to grab a hold of it. Oh, it looks like it came out all the way. Okay. Alright. That came out too. And I'm going to put that stem back in once I get this out. It looks like that spring goes over here. Okay, there's that removed. Simple enough. And it looks like this is just floating in there like so, and I can take that out. So now that we have the movement out, very lightweight. Good Lord, there's nothing to this thing. Let's see. Let's get those hands off. Can't imagine that being any different than any other timepiece, regardless of the movement. And if I totally screw this up, then that's life. I'll have to grab another movement somewhere. They must be available somewhere. But sometimes I look at it this way. If somebody put this together, they might not have a doctorate degree in engineering or physics or watchmaking. They just might say, here, put this together. And if somebody can put it together, somebody else can take it apart. Now, what do I want to do? I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. Well, let's start with this. Let's put the stem back in. At least enough to hold that wheel. I don't want to lose that bugger. I guess I could take this out. Take out the, I guess you could call this the keyless works. I could take out the keyless works. This circuit board appears to be on the top. And then okay, let's get in the shot, people. The circuit board, I'm calling this. And then it's underneath is this device, this holder. And then we have that. Let's take 1, 2, 3. Let's take those screws out. Let's see what happens. And if I do screw this up, does anybody out there have one of these? They want to sell me? Let's wait and see. Tiny screws, they're considerably tight. Wow. Okay. I may have to break this up in various stages as I go along, so I don't get too long-winded and bore you to death. I just thought it'd be interesting to see one of these up close, taken apart. Something this old, I would think, would need a little bit of lubrication somewhere, because it does have mechanical parts in it as well. There's got to be some sort of cannon pinion. All right, what happens when we take this out? Look at that. Nothing really happens. Everything is kind of circuit printed, no wires hanging around. Speaking of lubrication, I need a drink. Got a little Chardonnay going. I believe this pot right here, this potentiometer, is for adjusting the speed, fast or slow. I just assume that. I don't know. Certainly not a volume control, although it is a volume control technically. Let's look. Let me zoom in right there. This is interesting. Let me get it tight. This will be why this video runs long and subsequent videos, because I'm going to zoom in on things. I believe that sliding steel piece of metal on the keyless works is actually a switch, and it's going to move in and connect the battery and power this up. So the keyless works are doing two things. It's basically a battery saver. Let's say you didn't have your watch on for a while and you wanted to save the battery, pull the stem, and it switches. Let me get some more light here, and it switches the power off like a power saver. I'm going to go with that for now. I don't know what it is, but for now I'm going to go with it. So that's this little guy right here. And if you look under here, under that plastic, there's a piece that moves as well. See that? And I think, well, I don't know. Let's leave that alone, shall we? So in the meantime, we're going to come over to this device here. We're going to remove that screw. Now what's under here I have no idea, but it is an electronic part. Looks like just a coil of wire. Don't know what that would be called. I don't have very much experience in terms of electronics, but whenever I see a coil of wire, you're either making a magnet or a rheostat or something. So that looks to be all one piece in here. I don't know, but either way, let's get this off. Next, the dial. I'm not even sure how this dial is held on. But we're going to find out. Might be glued on, might be sticky taped. I don't know. This is the part I'm interested in. What's under here? What is... Got 1, 2, 3, 4 joules. I don't know how many joules are in this total. Okay, it's a little tight in there. There we go. That's because it's pinned. Okay. All right, interesting. We have some gears over here. Tiny buggers. We have a gear here, we have a gear here, we have a gear here. And this looks like, I think this is a mini motor. That's a motor. That's the driver. That's what's driving all of this right in here. So that's like a little mini motor. It's a tiny bugger. So it's a good thing I have this on video, so I know how these go back together. There's a wheel. Axis looks good, or staff, whatever you want to call it. And then we have this guy coming out in that order. That looks okay as well, but I'll look at it closely later on. Then we have, I'm thinking that is the second hand pinion. Yes, look how long that is. Genius, I figured that out. And then we have something here. Let's see what happens here. I'm thinking that's a motor. That is a little tiny motor that drives this. And this device here, let's see if we come in and out. Okay, here we go. Look at this. We have a looks like a hacking type system, but it may not be. I don't know. But it's got that little hook on it. And if you look at this hole right here, let's get in the shot better. You can see something poking through that. So maybe that is the switch. The switch and the hacking movement all in one. Is that doable? I think so. Switch and hacking movement all in one. I do want to get under here because this gear is connected under there somehow. But in the meantime, let's take the keyless works out. And then I'll get to taking the, then we'll stop and then we'll start and we'll get out the dial. Ooh, that's tight. Now before we do that, is this spring, it's got somewhat of a load on it. Not too bad. There's our keyless works holder screw. Oh boy, did you see that? I was afraid of that and I didn't think of it right away. That spring took a dive, it landed on my pants. There it is. Spring, keyless works, what have you. See, learn something every day. Let's get the stem taken out. And this crown wheel as well. And then we have this little guy floating about. Easy enough so far. Sure, only lost one, well, lost one part flying away. So let's end this so it's not long-winded. People might think, oh my goodness, get on with it. So we're gonna end it and then we're gonna start up again.